Once again, I'll say good morning to all of us. Good morning to you. If you're listening to me, this is your morning, I say good morning to you. If this is your afternoon, I say good afternoon to you. Then if this is your night, wish you a good and pleasant rest. I'm still Mazi Haichukwanyamu, and once again I've come to talk to us about most of the things that really, a kind of worry. I wouldn't say sleepless night because we sleep well. It gives us worry, and why it's disturbing us is that not that we don't know. Most of us are aware of the truth, and it's bothering us that some of us are still, carried away by certain illusion and fantasies created by this so-called world order. Today I came across an article that expressed a kind of, excitement, talking about some things that were predicted. And it was clear to me that many of us don't understand what these people mean by prediction. It was an article about the Simpsons, how the man was always predicting and it was happening. Now, let us define prediction. Prediction is supposed to be something that somebody will say that will happen in the future that has not happened, and later it comes to pass. Okay, fine. Now, the question is this: do these people really see the future? Do they have the gift to see the future? No. Now, there are two things you do when it comes to predicting. It's either you are accurate, maybe you've seen what will happen in the future, and then you predicted it and it came to pass, or you predict something and you work it and create it, make it to happen so that people will believe that you will see the future. Now, this is what the so-called world, the Western world, that is what they do. What they do is that they create that prophecy. They make it work. So before they tell you, just like the Bible, like some people will tell you that most of the things that the Bible talked about, they are all happening. They are the ones that created them. They made them happen so that you'll be able to believe the Bible. For example, they talked about diversity of happening at random. Now, most of these sicknesses were manufactured in the lab to promote that prophecy. Most of the sicknesses were manufactured in the lab. You and I know that. Now, when we talk about natural occurrences like earthquake and all the rest of them, we know that these things are being triggered. They have developed machines, systems that trigger these things. And then when you see these things happening, it looks as if that the prophecy that was prophesied in this so-called Bible, they are all coming to pass. Because most of these things are being triggered by human beings to make sure that you keep living in that illusion. That is the purpose, that is the target, to keep you wondering, how can this thing be lies when these things are happening and when they are foretold that we were told that these things were going to happen. So they trigger, provoke certain situations that will allow those things to occur. So it looks like as if the prophecy is accurate, but in the real sense, it was manufactured. It was created. It is what we call improvising. Somebody made provision for it to occur, and it looks as if it's natural, but it is not. Just for example, when a doctor tells, maybe, for example, we've seen cases whereby somebody is not sick. They take him to the hospital. The doctor diagnoses that person as a sick person and tell the person that you have 6 months to die. So what the doctor needs to do is to achieve his aim, is to inject that particular person with a poison that will kill that person in 6 months' time. Then when the person dies, you say that the doctor saw it and the doctor had already told him that he was going to die in 6 months. But as at the time he visited the hospital, he was not sick. This is what these people are doing. They drop a prediction and they develop certain characters or certain materials that will help that prediction to come to pass. And we've all fallen cheap for it. Now, they are telling you For example, you and I are told that Africa is the poorest nation. But the whole world, but Africa, are the ones carrying the burdens of Africa. That the whole world is giving Africa aid, the whole world is feeding Africa. So everybody, the attention is Africa. The people who are suffering is Africa. The people who are dragging the world down is Africa. But then, if you are shallow-minded, if you're a layman, you will believe that nonsense. You will believe it for once. You will even be, calculating it. You don't need to. Now, but if your eyes are open and you are wise, you will know that the reverse is the case. Why is the world suffering? It's because Africa is carrying the load of the whole world. But now, the source of the world's, every other person's food is coming from Africa. The roads that are being quoted in Europe, in America, in Asia, the money is coming from Africa. Now you ask yourself, if Africans they are as poor as these people are saying that we are, why is it that all of them are scrambling to have a place in Africa? Why is it that all of them are scrambling to have business with African governments? A poor nation. Everybody is coming to Africa. China is coming. America is there. Russia is there. What are they looking for? Have you ever seen anybody? Have you ever seen people trooping into a poor man's house before? No. If they are trooping in there, there is something more than the eyes can see. Something that many of you are not looking at, that all of them are looking for. It's because there is food there. It's because there is gain there. It's because there is something that they will benefit from there. So you cannot benefit from somebody that is poor. You can only benefit if somebody is rich. It's because Africa is the one holding and then surviving the world. But we are meant to believe. That is why I'm saying. Because when they say something, they try to put in materials to support their claim. And they have put in things to make us believe that Africans are actually poor. And what are the things that they did? They did not put any visible structure, but what they did was to create a situation that is not conducive for all Africans. A situation that will keep Africans running out of Africa. So when you see people trooping out of Africa, you will think that Africa is a dead world. As we are trooping out, Africans are trooping out. So also are these people trooping in. Because they know that there is still something there. But just because many Africans, in the bid to survive, because they have created a situation where everybody is looking for a way to survive. This was what they did during slavery. They will come to a village, set the village at base. They will come to a place, set the houses in the village on fire. Then the people will be running out to save themselves from the fire that is burning their houses. Once they come out, they grip them. If the men rush out, they attack them. So you are running from one danger, not knowing that there is a danger, it's a trap, there is another danger in front of you. And this is what they are doing to us now. The same system they are using, this is the system they use. They don't have any other system. That is why they call them divide and rule. They don't have any other system. The system is to make sure that they create a kind of chaos, confusion, frustrating atmosphere in your environment. And once it is done, they will now come in, because by that time you are busy trying to handle the problem that has engulfed your area. So while you are busy concentrating on so you see, this is the problem. This is the problem. And when it happens like this, we think that the only way that the man that have come to, pretending to come to rescue is actually a hero. But in the real sense, he is the man that instigated the problem. He is the one that initiated the problem. He is the one that attacked us at the first place. So he pretends to be a friend. He comes in the name of a friendship, knowing fully well that we are now vulnerable. Then he is about to attack. And this is what they are doing to us. They are telling you that they don't want you to come into their borders. They are telling you they don't want you to come to their place. But they created that situation to uninhabitable. if you are not running for cash, you are running for security. That is why they made sure all the arms, there is no single place that will produce ammunition in Africa. There is no single place that will produce those kind of military ammunitions. Every military weapon in Africa that Africans are using against Africans are being imported. And most of the times, these weapons are not paid for. They supply it freely because they know how they are going to recover their money, and they are going to recover it more than 1,000 times. You understand? And they look for the people. They look for those ones amongst us that have that are shallow-minded. They brainwash them to be enemy to their own soil. So you see people who are being brainwashed, leading other people in the name of so many things. We attack ourselves. And that is where these people, that is where their progress and their prosperity is coming from. But they are preaching unity among their own clan, among their own circle. Do you understand what I'm saying? They are preaching unity because it is in this unity that they are growing. None of them have a single mineral resources. They don't have a single mineral resources. But yet, they are rich. Yet, we are waiting for them to feed us. How can somebody that does not cook feed a person that is always cooking? Something is wrong. Something is actually wrong somewhere. And many of us are not looking at that area, what is actually wrong. There is nothing they have predicted that have come to pass. Everything that they say that will happen, that is happening, is what they themselves make sure that it happens. Somebody worked hard to make it happen. To make it happen. All the things they predicted, all the bad things they predicted, they are the ones that worked very, very hard to make it happen so that you will believe their story. So that you yourself will fall and believe what they are saying. And this is where we are today. And that is why we are telling our people to wake up. Wake up. There is no need. We've lived in an illusion for a very long time. We've believed lies. We've believed stories. We have embraced fairy tales for a very long time. And it has never helped us, and it will not help us. They told you that all African countries were given independence. Some of them had independence in 1960, some had independence in 1950-something. But it is a lie. These things are illusions. None of these countries are free. All the French countries are still paying colonial taxes to France, up to date. So what kind of independence are you talking about? How is it that you believe that you've been liberated, you've been given your freedom, and you are still indebted to a people that say they have freed you? When one is being released from the hand of his master, are you not a master of your own? When you are still paying tribute, when you are still going back to the master to pay him annually or give him some money, then what shows that you are free? You are not free. They told you about that you are free. You've gotten your independence. But you and I know that these things are lies. There is nothing they have said to you that is true. Many of you, after studying in Africa, you come to any of these Western countries. What happens? They will send you back to school. So what does that tell you? It tells you, they will tell you in the name that you are going to learn the language. Okay, what about those that studied in Nigeria, that went to London? Why did they have to go and do some certain kind of training? They are telling you that the education you have, the one that we introduced to you, is not education. And this is just the plain truth. There is nothing they gave us that is what they said it is. The politics we are playing is to our own detriment. It will not improve us in any form and in any way. Come to think of it, are you not saying that all the people that have ruled us all this while, that none of them is sensible enough to advocate for something good and wonderful for his people? Look at Gaddafi, that did everything for Libyans. Look at Gaddafi, that made Libyans live a good life. What happened to him? He was wasted because he is introducing to people something that they shouldn't have been introduced to. The kind of life they don't want, the kind of peace, the kind of environment, luxury that they don't want for Africa, they don't want Africans to have. Because once we have this kind of luxury, we will begin to reason like normal human beings. And when we do, they will lose their grip, and then their poverty will begin. Africa has been the basket bread, the basket that carries the bread that feeds the whole world. And the only way the world can be eaten from Africa is when Africans are confused. If Africans are organized, the world will starve. The rest of the world will starve to death. Unless, of course, they are ready to bow to our feet. And this is why they made sure that you will always have the kind of government that will frustrate you. You always have the kind of government that will not give you that kind of peace that you need. So let us stop deceiving ourselves. Politicians are part of our problem. Religion is part of our problem. And that is why they will tell you anything to make you stay in all those walls, whether it is the church or the mosque. Because once you are there, you don't reason like a normal human being. Your brain will not function. You will not think. Logically, you will lose every sense of reality once you are in any of those houses called religion. You can never reason normal. And that is what they want. Because when you begin to think, you will understand how things work. You will know how bad these people are. What you should look at, I'm not talking about the man smiling before you. I'm not talking about the man frowning before you. I am talking about the structure that you will remain under their control because of that structure. And they are not, it's not because they are not doing you bad because they hate you. They are not doing you evil because they hate you. And they are not doing anything because they like you. It is business, purely business for them. No permanent enemy, no permanent friend, but permanent interest. Their interest is to protect their own and protect their kind. Their interest is for them to survive. It is not, it has nothing, it's not a personal thing. And we have to also develop this kind of business mind. Their own is to protect their own, to protect their race. It's not about one person. It's not about one person. It's not about one person. We are the only people, when we steal money from our place, we will go and invest in another man's land. We will go and invest that money in another man's land. That is the kind of mentality they want us to have. And once you come, they will welcome you. But work here. After working in any of the Western countries, save up to 100,000 euro or dollars, then transfer it home and see how long it will take you to transfer your own hard-earned money. What you suffered for. You will struggle to transfer that money to your country because they don't want anything to live. They don't want anything to live here. So they are doing everything they are doing, everything they are making is to protect their own. The religion they gave you is to make sure that they are getting something from you. Do you know how much leaves your place and goes to Vatican City or goes to England or goes to Mecca? Do you know how much you people take when you are going to pilgrimage, whether it is Mecca, whether it is Jerusalem? Do you know how much we carry out from our places and we go to all those places? We are the ones building this people's nation. We are making it look as if they are blessed and we are cursed. Because we the ones we are supposed to save, the ones we are supposed to invest in our land, we are wasting it. And then we are upholding their own. Somebody will tell you that they are getting a lot of, generating a lot of funds through tax. Yes, of course. Who are they taxing? It's immigrant. It's you and I. Okay, fine. Because we are in that place. But then what about your own place? What about your own place? What are you doing to develop your own place? We are blessed with mineral resources. We are blessed with human resources. We have everything. We have all it takes to build a great nation. We have what it takes to make Africa great. But why are we not doing it? Have you ever asked yourself that question? It's because of the kind of education we have. It's because of the kind of environment that has been created, the kind of politics we play. And who are the people that introduce this to us? Why is it that they don't want to leave us to practice our own politics, our own kind of politics? Why is it that they don't want to leave us to have our own kind of education? Why must they dictate for us what we should do? You should know that there's a personal interest behind it. It's not just ordinary because they want to civilize the world. These are the same people that is telling you about democracy. They prefer to put democracy in certain places they call country or certain nations. And then in other nations, they allow them. Once a dictator is dancing to their tune, he becomes their friend. They won't disturb him. Till when he opposes them, then they will not remember that the people in that country, all the while that the man has been there, dealing with people, they don't see the need for those people to have democracy. But immediately the man now diverts and is no longer the same people they've watched over the years go through this leadership. They will now start telling you that the man need to go. But they saw the man before. They had him before. He was there. He was their friend. He romanced their idea. So for that he stays. It's not about democracy. They have no interest. They don't have your interest in mind. They don't have my interest in mind. It's all about what they will gain. And once they are not getting anything, they want to remove that person and put somebody that will be there and then that will dance to the music that they are playing. So that is why we say Western structure, whether it is political structure or religious structure or educational structure, even their head structure, everything has to go. Let us go back to what we had before they came. It was what confused them. They could not match us because we had our own original. This is why we are talking about this. If they cannot, they are predicting you because when they provoke you, for example, if I provoke you now, I can predict and tell people, watch this man, he's a madman. He will behave like a mad dog now. I will go there and provoke you. When I provoke you, normally it's natural. Because you are provoked, you will act. An angry man will always behave like an angry man. So there is nothing, it's not about prediction. It's and I told them already that we are going to act. So this is why it's as if they are predicting. They cannot predict Africans. It's because they have created an atmosphere that will allow them to say certain things, and then people will see it and they say, yes, this is what they said about these Africans. This is how they behave. No. Let us beat them. The only way we can do it is to come back to what we are, who we are. That is why it is, when I look at people, especially the so-called learned and whatever was, they make themselves, and they try to tell me and convince me that they are sure that Christianity has something to do with divinity. I look at them and I see how foolish they can be. I don't care the certificate you have. Because it is very obvious that Christianity, I don't want to even talk about Islam. Christianity is created to mislead you. Christianity is created to mislead you. There is nothing holy, divine about it. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that these things are similar? Let me quote them for you. Rosicrucian order, Ogboni, Freemason. Why are they similar? Now, look at all of them and then bring out your Christianity. Tell yourself the truth. Open your heart and look at these three things I mentioned. These three courts I mentioned. You will see that these things are the same. And Christianity is just an extension of it. Christianity is part of these things I mentioned that was created to make it look a little mild. So that the gullible ones like you will embrace it and think that there is something holy about it. You are still in the same court, quote and unquote, in the same society. It doesn't matter the label you give it, whether you are in Pentecostal or in spiritual church or in Anglican or in Catholic or whatever you find yourself, as long as the name of Christ is mentioned, you are the Rosicrucian order and the Ogboni fraternity. You are part of it. Because they are all the same format. They are all the same format. they are all the same format. You will not understand what I'm saying. It doesn't matter the sign they give, whether you give this sign or this sign or this sign, it does not matter. The issue is that once you are baptized in any of these things I mentioned, you have been initiated. You have been initiated. And the white man knows that you are no longer a threat to him. So all he needs to do is to use any of the books that are available to you, that are made available to you, to keep you in the place he wants you to be. To keep your brain in the place he wants your brain to be. And this is what they do. So there is no need for him to fear you. Now, why they are having problem with Islam is this. It's because they created it for confusion at the first place. So it is difficult for them not to reverse it because, you know, at times, it's just like when they created AIDS, HIV. They never knew it was going to attack their own people. So when it attacked their own people, now they now started looking for, because they already have the antidotes. They created it and they created the antidotes. They now started looking for a way to prevent it from coming to their place. But they created it to destroy a certain group of people. But then it's now backfiring. Because at times, you know, when you build, it's just like somebody, when you build a wall to defend yourself, you're also preventing people from coming in. But when you now open up so that you can attack other people, you've also opened yourself up for attack. So these things are normal. So when they create these things, they created it for destruction against a certain group of people. But then, at the end of the day, we still have our gods who are constantly fighting for us. And they will keep fighting for us until we win this battle. So when what was created, it was created for destruction. But now it is backfiring on them. And that is the same way. When they created these religions, they had something in mind against a certain group of people, which is us. But now, the same monsters they created are eating them up. You see? The same monsters they created are eating them up. It is backfiring on them. And you will not understand. But when you go back and you check, you go back through history, you know that these things were created against Africans. These things were created against Africans. These things were created against Africans. Because when they came, they saw what we had. They used what we have. Most of us who are not rooted deep spiritually will be carried away because it will look like it is part of us, and then we will embrace them, and then we will adapt them. It's just like when you go to a place, for example, you will see food being prepared like your local food. You know, at times, except of course, you know the taste of what the local food looks like. If you've not eaten it deep before, or if you've been seeing it, maybe just you see it, but you've not tasted it, you will fall for that fake food. But one that knows the taste, when you taste it, say, this looks like our food, but it is not our food because the taste is different. For example, let me give you a clear example. Many of you have gone into supermarket shops and you bought a bottle of honey, what they told you, natural honey. But only to realize after using that bottle, somebody that is familiar with honey will tell you that this is not honey, this is sugar, cooked sugar. And you don't know the difference because you've not really, you are not familiar with natural honey. And you pay the price of natural honey. But what they gave you was ordinary sugar. Do you understand? Brown sugar. That was what they gave you. But you thought it was honey. But it wasn't honey. And this is what they are doing. When they brought these monsters to us, many of us, because generation has passed. So because we heard about the story of how it used to be. So when we saw the monsters, we felt as if it was what we were looking for. We embraced it. And it is what we are telling most of you now, that come out of that place. There is no life there. It was never designed for your own good. Like we have said it severally. If there is anything like heaven, if there is anything, any benefit in any of this religion, the Western world wouldn't have brought it to Africa. They would have built a very big wall, just like they are building now in America and other places, to keep you away from that benefit or from those benefits. If there is any benefit, they would have built additional walls to prevent you from having a glimpse, not even a touch, a glimpse of those benefits. So somebody telling you that you make you to go to heaven and you believe it, as an African, you are a fool. I'm sorry to say this, excuse my language, but you are indeed a fool. If a man cannot give you an ordinary toothpick to pick your teeth, what makes you think that he will give you a whole king as food to eat when you are hungry? If a man cannot give you right when rain is beating your head, what makes you so sure that he is going to one day give you the key of his car for you to drive the car? How can you be talking about somebody showing you the way to heaven when he cannot even allow you to, you can't even to get visa to come to his country is a war. Except, of course, he knows you are coming to spend. If a man cannot give you access into his office, what makes you so sure that he will give you a room in his house? Why are we deceiving ourselves? Why can't we reason like normal human beings? That some people predicted certain things and they are happening. Ask yourself, how is this thing coming to be? How is this thing coming to be? It's because they are provoking certain things. We live in a world that we have, through experiments and through experience, we have seen that certain things can trigger certain reality, certain things to occur. And all you need to do is to understand how it works, and then you trigger those things to happen. If you throw a very big stone into a bucket of water, it will produce waves that will even pour. The water may even flash or overflow the bucket and pour away. And all you need to do, that means the stone has volume, and that the volume of the stone is what actually triggered, is the power and the strength of the wave that it is going to produce in the bucket. Then imagine a bigger bucket or a sea. So what you need to do is also to imagine something that can react as a bigger stone. So that is it will create a very big wave. These things are not, they are normal. It's common sense. It's calculation. And they've been working on these things over the years. So it's not like as if they predicted something and it came to pass. It's not like that. So our problem is that we have a people that are crying, they are crying and shouting, help me, help me, help me. And the moment you start telling them what they need to do to help themselves, no, they don't want to hear that. What they want to hear is that you are sending somebody to come and help them, and especially let it be somebody that doesn't look like them. And that is when they will accept the help. But they themselves does not want to, a situation whereby you will compare them or put them in a corridor where they have to think of what to do, even if though you are going to show them how to work themselves out of what they are in. This is the problem we have. It's because of the kind of education that we were given. I've met so many young men, and they will tell me they are educated, so to say. Of course, I believe them. Of course, I'm not doubting them, because many of them will come and show you their certificates. But the question is this: when you sit with them and then you begin to, reason out certain things with them, you will understand that actually they went through a program, and the program allowed them to know certain things, to have knowledge of a particular thing, not even the full knowledge, just a knowledge of a particular thing, maybe a small knowledge of it, and then for them to have we ever asked ourselves, why is it that with all the whole education, all the whole schools we have in the whole breadth and length of Africa, none of us can really produce or develop, none of these schools can really train people that will come out and build factories without having to seek the help of foreigners. Every government in Africa is looking for foreign contractors, foreign workers to come and help them build railway, build roads, build bridges, build houses. Why? Why? When we have millions and millions of people who are graduating out of these so-called institutions of learning. So what did they go to learn? It's because a system was introduced to us, a system that will compel us to seek for opportunities and not create opportunities. The thing that is missing in our life is that we have lost the ability to create. And that is what makes us gods. Because what gods do is that they create. And once you have lost that ability to create, you start depending on those who are creating. And this is why a lot of our people are running out of the continent to go and seek for work somewhere, because those works are being created. Now, let me tell you something. The truth of the matter is that government does not create work. Government does not create work. That you go any place in the world, it is not government that creates work. It is individuals. But there is something that government do. Government create individuals who create work. And because we have a system that does not create individuals who create work, we have a system that creates individuals who look for work. We have a system that creates individuals because they give us those systems so that we will be dependent on them. We will keep depending on them. So where is your independence? In religion, you are depending on them. Politically, you are depending on them. Because before you become whatever you want to become in any stupid imaginary land called country, you have to go to either you have to visit Europe and then US. So to be approved by the royal family and by the ruling class in America. Then once they approve you, you win the election. It doesn't matter where you are in Africa. So we are still depending on them on that. We are still depending on them. When you now, there's a lot of things we need to take. That is why if we do not leave these systems they created, we can never be free. We accept the fact that we are being, for example, every so-called pastor or man of God want to be recognized by Pope. Want to be recognized by, if Pope invite them now, they will run 440 and go. It is normal. That is why, because they as long as we, it doesn't matter how we try to push it off. There is a lot of inferiority complex in us because of the system they created that we see ourselves in. We might do good, but we can never be better than them. That is what the system is telling you. You are doing well, you are doing good, but you cannot be the best. You can do anything. But you and I have seen that most of us that have our children here in the West, when it comes to academic competition, our children practically are doing better than most of their children. When it comes to sport, we are doing better than. So what makes you think that we are still inferior? It's because the system has been created and we believe in that system. So we need them to approve us. And this is why we are saying that the only thing that will make us is when we go back, you cannot be somebody to his game. Let us go back to what we are, what we used to be. We are original, being ourselves. We are original, being who we are, being Africans. Worshipping in our own African way, understanding our own, worshipping what we understand. Because many of you, and not even all of you, that are in Christianity or in Islam, do not understand what to worship at all. Some of you are confused. Some of you will say that Jesus is white. Some will say that Jesus is black. But in the real sense of it, Jesus never existed. There is nobody that lived on this earth except in Mars or in Mercury. I don't know about that. But in this planet Earth, from the beginning of creation till now, there is nobody that has lived here that matched the character. There is nobody. He never existed. He was created from one form to another, from one form to another. Even where they borrowed it from, the so-called Egyptian story of Heru and Isis, it is even questionable. There was nothing like that. There were reasons why stories were told. It has nothing to do with reality. But today now, the people just celebrated Easter. And Easter has been converted by Christians to a time that the so-called Lord and Savior was crucified. But that was not what Easter was. Even before Christianity, Easter has been celebrated. Easter is not a new celebration. Before the so-called religion, Christianity and Judaism came, people have been doing Easter. So the issue of telling you about Passover and all the rest of them, all those things are stories. They are Kakambu stories. Stories that were carved out of nowhere. And at the end of the day, some people like you have embraced it. And you think it makes your day. So until we understand that we are in deep... This one is no longer people deceiving us. It's we deceiving ourselves. Self-deception. That we are in deep self-deception. We can never move forward. We need to understand where we are. We need to understand where we are. We are a people that were created. We are very close to the Creator. We are very close to the Creator. We are not bastards. We are the children of this particular nature. We are the children of Mother Nature. We are the children of creation. We are the ones that are supposed to take care of this earth. But we have allowed people who are supposed to learn from us, who are supposed to lean on to follow us. We have allowed them to take the lead, and we are following them behind. How do you now expect us to come out of what we are in? When the person who is like you know, being led by a blind person when you are the one seeing the road, and you are pretending as if you are blind too. And if he's falling into the ditch and you're also falling into the ditch. Let me tell you something. Let me shock you people. If we had been in charge of life up to now, you would not be hearing the stories of gay, lesbianism. You won't even be hearing most of these bad things you are hearing. Why? Because we understand what it means to celebrate life. We understand what it means to live a pure and we know what you will do, and you will defy the land. We know it, and we cannot allow it to happen. But just because it's a people that does not understand how nature works, they don't know what you ought to do or what you don't have to do to pollute the land. They don't know it. So for them, everything goes as long as their body yearns for it, as long as their body is hungry for it, as long as they have that lust in them. So for them, it's nothing. That is why they're telling you that a man can marry a man, because they don't know the implications of it spiritually. These people are not spiritual. They don't understand the implication of defying a woman before she gets married. So to them, sex is nothing, because they don't know the meaning of sex. What they want to do is to satisfy the physical urge. So they don't care about the complications or the circumstances that surrounds whatever they are doing. And that is why the earth is in in the mess that it is in. Today, that is why you see a lot of blood being wasted. That is why somebody can tell you about abortion. These are people that have no value for nature. They don't understand how nature works. For them, anything goes. As long as it is okay in their little mind, it is okay. And as long as they remain in charge, things will get worse. This is why we are calling everybody back. Come back to your normal senses. Forget about what they gave you. Everything they gave you is rotten. Everything they gave you is rotten. Just as you should know what I'm saying. Just like as you cannot compare fertilizer with natural manure. So also you cannot compare the life they've given you, the artificial life, the life that has no meaning, to the proper life that we ought to have been living. You cannot. No matter how fast a fertilizer grows food, what that fertilizer is producing is poison. No matter how big or how you admire that food is pure poison. But you know that any food that is grown with natural manure, that what the food gives is life. It does not matter how long it takes to grow. It does not matter how small it looks. Every bite you take from that fruit, every bite you take from that food, it is life. And life upon life that you are eating. So you cannot compare it. Just like you cannot compare the local raised chicken with the one that you have in your poultry that you fed with all sorts of nonsense. And then he grew in 3 days' time and became a big chicken. You can't compare the two. Many of you know the truth of what I'm saying. You cannot. So you cannot compare the life that these people are giving you. It is a microwave life. A life that has no meaning. It's a microwave life. Every story you were given, the spirituality they are giving you is microwave spirituality. It has no meaning. It has no root at all. That is why we are telling you people, because you need to understand that this life is a circle. It's a circle. It's a circle. That is why at times you go to certain places, you know you've not been that place, you've not been there before. But the moment you get there, everything looks familiar. It's because in your past life, you were there before. So many of you will sleep and you will still have some dreams. See yourself in strange places. You'll be wondering, what is this place? It's because in your past life, you've been there. Where you're seeing yourself in a dream is where you've been in your past life. And somebody is telling you that you just came to earth. You were just created. And then you will soon go to, who knows, I don't know where they are saying you will go. Life is a circle. It's a circle. That is why when this body is tired, after overworking the body, when the body is tired, wants to retire, you drop the body, you go back, prepare yourself, and come back with a new body. That is how it is. And the earlier you understand it as a natural man you are, the better for you, because that is when you start appreciating and embracing nature. We have lost contact. We have lost contact with nature because we have believed in so many lies that the enemy told. And we are celebrating those lies. The same people that told you that if you die, you go to hell or heaven. The same people are also encouraging women to abort newborn babies. They are also telling you reasons why you shouldn't have. When I came to Europe, I saw there was this trend. You meet a man and a woman, they say, we don't want to have more. We just want to have 2 children. That was when I realized how stupid and foolish Africans are. So is it a different kind of people that would dictate for you how to run your family? Because the Europeans have told you that you only have 2. Even self is good that you don't even have any. Enjoy yourself. When you finish enjoying yourself, you start having children. Is there wisdom in that? Why are you on earth? Only to enjoy yourself. But somebody gave birth to you. If the person that gave birth to you decided not to have given birth to you to enjoy him or herself, then will you have been here? You see, this is the world. This is the people you want to rely on. Self-minded people. Selfish thinking people. This is the kind of people you want them to shape your life, to give you the kind of life you want to live. You want them, you are using them as role model. How can you nurse that kind of thought? Why should you deprive the things that creation want to use you to bring into this world, into existence? Why are you stopping children from coming? Many of you, because of that mentality, you have taken pills and you have wasted your womb. Now you want to have, you are ready now to have children. They are not coming because you have destroyed your womb with pills. And if they actually say you're not regretting anything, all of you are regretting it. Let's stop telling ourselves lies. You are regretting it. You wish you had your own kids. You know you made a mistake by listening to that rubbish. And some of you who are about to embark on the same journey, do not. It will cost you a lot. You will regret it for the rest of your life. Allow nature to have its way. Yes, many will say, how will you not train the children? It's because they created that system. They created a system whereby you will always be looking for a way to survive instead of how to move from one success to another success. And we are asking, if we all join hands together, we will change it. We will change the structures. We will remove that thing they created. The only one of us can survive is to remove the thing they created. This thing called money, they are the ones that created it. They created the thing called money. They made it look as if it's important. But in the real sense of it, money is just a colored paper. Yes, a colored paper. Because how you will realize that money is another colored paper is that when you take one currency from another country and go to another country, you will see that you will not be able to spend it except you go through another process, because that currency has to be recognized. You can't just walk into any shop and say, even if you take dollar now and enter into any shop in Europe, you can't just walk into any shop and say you want to buy something with dollar. No. They will tell you where you will go to change it into euro. So the money has to go through a process for it to be recognized. Because it's an ordinary paper. The value in it is the recognition that has been given to it. You take euro now and you go to America, you can't just spend it in any shop. They won't even listen to you. They will prefer a credit card. Because that one has been recognized. So you look at it at the end of the day, what is currency? Currency is what is recognized. It's not about the color. It's not about the picture inside the paper. It's just the recognition. And once it's being recognized, then you can spend it. Just like as you take your credit card, you can walk into any place. Now, before, if you have credit card from one bank, you may not be able to use it in another bank machine. But now they have machines that will allow you to use it in any machine. The only thing you pay is small commission. So you see, it's all about recognition. It's all about recognition. And they have made it so that we have attached so much importance to these things, and you need it, because that is why they created the system. If you don't have the money, you will not pay your house bills. You will not pay your house rent. You will have problem. And for you to push your children through education, you need this money. But it was not like that before they came to Africa. In Africa, a child can go through learning. The only thing you need to do is to bring an introductory wine, bring certain things to introduce your child to the person that is going to teach your child. And this person will take your child through a process. And by the time the child has gone through that process and wants to establish on his own, it is even the same master that took him through that process that will help him, support him financially, and give him, and also with materials, and also his people to establish. And the child will also establish and begin to work, and then start helping the society too. Maybe he will take 2 or 3 other children and train them. This was how we were growing. You see, he would take 2 or 3 other people, train them, and those ones will also, before you know it, people are working. Jobs are being created. Why? Because it's not about you. It has nothing to do with being selfish. It's all about you playing your role and also helping build the society that we want. And this is what these people came. When they came, they took it away from us. They took it away from us. They now taught us their callous life, selfish life. The winner takes it all. Do or die affair. Then life becomes a competition. It's no longer a place to complete. In a society, what people look for, those that will fill in the gaps, is not what we look for now today. Today, now life becomes a competition where everybody is competing with one another. If you want to be the best, you want to be the best. You want to be the best. So you are ready to take down anybody that stands your way. If they do not, so it becomes, we are filled with envy. We are filled with jealousy. You even come to a home, you see husband and wife competing. You will start asking yourself, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong actually with the world? Why is it that we are suffering all these things? What is wrong with us? So people are coming where there is not supposed to be. The idea was for one person to bring in the place that something is lacking, and then fill in that gap. The idea this attitude to us, because that is the life they lived in the cave. So when they came out, they introduced it. It has to be the winner takes it all. You understand? It's either you are a winner or you are a loser. There is no in between, but it was not so. And the life we lived was a community life, where everybody is carried along. Where it's not about how you achieve or what you achieve. It's about what we are all able to do together as a community. peace reigned. And that is why we are saying if we do not destroy this structure will destroy us, because the idea is to eliminate us. Because we represent that thing which they cannot be and they are not. That peace they are telling you is what we represent. Peace is not what you say. Peace is not what you pretend to be. Peace is what you are. But we have transformed from being peace to being confused and frustrated just like them. And the only thing we can do is to come back to our peaceful nature. To come back to that place that we as a people can realize and understand that this is why we are here. We are the community. Why should we allow the people that do not understand the value and the importance of nature to take over? So when we call on you to come out of Christianity, when we call on you to come out of politics, when we call on you to forget about the formation or the structure of this, their education, that it has never helped us as a people and it will not help us. Many of you that are educated will bear me witness that some of you have looked for work for almost 20-something years. Some of you have even, what you are doing now is not what you studied. So what good is that education? If you cannot practice what you studied, then what good is that education? Many of you can bear me witness that if they themselves have known that we have a system that have generated and produced important and influential people before they came. A system, when they came, they walked through the breadth and the length of Africa, they saw there was no destitute. A system where people are being treated the way they're supposed to be treated. A system where people saw and understood the value of life. But now, today, no. Africans don't even know the value of life. I can remember vividly in Nigeria that the first time somebody was stoned to death and was called Ole, 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 and was stoned to death was immediately after the war in Lagos. But today now it becomes a trend. Once they shout thief, thief, in any part of Africa, the people will rush and kill the person. We are not known for that. This character, this hoodlum character, this mob character was introduced to us by these people that came. It was not in Africa before. When people commit even unthinkable crimes, worst crimes, what they do is to banish them out of the land. They banish them out of the land. There is most of these things most of this life that we adopted was never part of us. But today they call us jungle because they have brought their jungle life to us and they are pretending as if they are civilized. You understand? And they have packaged themselves in such a way that, but those lives were the lives they brought to us. The life they took and they took while they were coming out of the cage. They introduced it to us. It was not part of our life. We were great thinkers. We were philosophers. We were people that sit down and the only thing we do, we spend our time doing, how we do our sport is to think. Play with our brain. That is why when there is no community you go to in Africa, you will not hear one proverbs or the other. Because the reason why they use proverbs to talk is that those who are in the game, it's like a game to us. Wisdom was like a game to us. It was something that people were passionate about. So that is why before they will accept you into that class of wise men, you must be able to communicate in proverbs. So when the elderly ones sit, they talk with proverbs. So that if you are not in that class, you will not be able to catch up with what they are saying. So that was the game we were playing. When they came, they saw that we were thinkers, philosophers. We had a higher level of psychological life. And when they came, they imitated it. They envied it. So what did they do? They were able to use the less they were able to use those who were the lesser ones among us to penetrate, and they made them look as if they were the ones who were wise. by introducing them into certain lifestyles. And before you know it, they began to force those who were the wise men. Some of them had to leave cities, kingdoms. Some of them were killed for them to achieve their aim. And by the time they had their way, we were now left with those whose brains were poor. The ones whose brains were filled with ordinary bread. And then that is how we got to where we are today now. And that is why if you are talking, most of our brothers and sisters who can't reason well are the products of these people whose brains were filled with bread. So what do you expect? Somebody that is great ancestors never reasoned well. How do you expect him to reason well? He will still tell that Jesus is Lord. He will still tell you that there is a God in heaven. It didn't start with him. That was how it was in the time of his great-grandfather. They were the people that embraced the white man. So he still sees the white man as his Lord and Savior. So I'm not surprised, because that is what they met. These people, they met these ones among us. In our society then, before they came, these ones were nothing, because they have nothing to offer when the wise gather. When men with wisdom gather, they have nothing to offer. They only sit to listen. But when the white man came, because of his cunning, his craftiness, he has to now enter into them, tell them that they will make them important. And they gave them gun. They even compared some of them to kill most of our ancestors, so that they will intimidate others. And that was what happened. So many people submitted because they don't want to be killed. That's after they must have dealt with us through slavery. Because they came, they studied and know that there is no way they can penetrate us except of course, they scatter that formation that we have. Because everybody, once you are an African, you will know what I'm saying. That our ancestors, they spoke with proverbs. Proverb was food to them. And if you don't know how, if you don't understand or you don't have enough, you are being rated great and wise according to the number of proverbs that are in your head. And that is why when old men gather, you see young men surround them because they want to hear them talk. Whenever they open their mouth with wisdom. But today, the average old man reasons like a child. At times you ask yourself, that is why they now say to you, gray hair is not wisdom. It is in their own part. It wasn't in our own part, because the more you age, the more experience you have, the more your wisdom grow. Then, before they came. But when they came, they polluted everything. Today now, we don't even know who we are. We don't understand who we are. When we are telling our people this is what we used to be, it looks as if you are creating another story that never existed. If you used to be like this, when they came, they used our own people to have their way. They will say, if it was so, why didn't our ancestors do this? I'm not surprised you are asking that question, because I know that you came from a lineage of people too that have no brain, that they feed their brain with bread. So that is why you can ask such a stupid question. If you're actually a true son of the soil, your eyes will open. If you reincarnated a wise man that lived then, you will know what I'm saying. I don't even need to explain to you. You will feel it. Your spirit will tell you that this man is saying the truth. You even want to know more. But the moment you start asking these kind of questions, we know your lineage. We don't need anybody to tell us. We understand your lineage. Your lineage is the ones that they feed their head with bread. You understand? So they call them a fulefu in Igbo language. So we know your lineage. Your lineage, that is where you came from. So we are not expecting better from you. But all we are asking you is to follow us. Because in our place, they say, so follow us. Let us show you the way. You understand? Because we know, and we are very, very 100% convinced and sure, because we know it, that Jesus is not Lord. You understand? We know that Christianity cannot save you. It's not created to help you. We know it. We know that you yourself, it is above your pay grade. It's above your understanding now. We know. But just follow us. Trust us as your people. We will show you the way. You will later realize that we know what we are saying. You understand that Jesus was never and has never been Lord and will not be Lord. They only lord him over you so that they themselves can lord over us. You understand? So don't argue. Don't argue. You don't know it, you don't know it. You understand? You don't know it, you know you know. When you don't know, you don't know. There is nothing to argue about it. So we are only asking you because we know that there is no way we can move without carrying most of you along. And that is why we want you to open your mind. Forget about what you've been told. Life is not about magic. That somebody tell you that they do miracle here. Ask yourself, how has this been able to help the society where you live? Because if actually, according to what they told you, that the God they told you is watching over you, and that God is helping you, why is it that he only helps you when things are moving for you? Why is it that he only helps you when you go to a natural place where people are receiving the same kind of help, even without calling on the same God? You understand? So you ask yourself, why is it that things are getting worse instead of getting better? So there are so many questions you need to ask as a person. That is what shows that you are wise. That is what shows that you came from the lineage of wise men. You came from lineage of seers. Don't sit there and tell me that your grandfather, from what you are, we will know who your grandfather was. From what you are, we will know who your grandmother was. Because a lion will always give birth to a lion. You cannot be a son of a wise man and you are thinking like a fool that just woke up from dream. No. You have to be wise. That is why it is very wrong. It is unacceptable for an Igbo person to still remain inside the church. It is unacceptable for an African to remain inside the church. Because if you sit down and analyze what church have done in your life as a person, you will know that you can only, if you admit that he has done some good to you, you can only be telling yourself lies. If you sit down as a person and analyze what church have done to your community, you will know that they have only taken from your community, they have not given anything to your community. Why is it that we dislike ourselves? It's very simple. Because we have been made to understand that you have to, for them to recognize you, you have to be the best among your people. So when you see Africans, how do you know a stupid African? He will tell you that, look, especially those who are in the West, he will say, do you know that in the school where my children are going, they are the only black people in that school? And so what? The area where I live, I'm the only black man living in that area. This is for you to know that man that is a slave. That man that is a slave, that have that still slave mentality. So you think because you are the only black person living in that particular area, it makes you more important than other black people. You see how you see where we are? You see how bad it is. Have you seen what I'm saying? So that your child is the only child. She graduated from Harvard University. Is it not people that made Harvard University popular? What is so special about going to Harvard University? What is so special? Do you need to go to university to be great? These are the questions we ask ourselves. As if greatness can only be plugged in the West. As if that if somebody do not pass through those walls, that person will not be great. We directly and indirectly promote these people. And yet, we still tell somebody, I don't feel inferior. You don't feel inferior, but from the comments and the things you say and the things you do, it shows that you are inferior. You are not even sure of yourself. For you to waste all the whole money you would have used to build a factory or to do something important so that you send your daughter or your son to Harvard University because of the stories you heard about Harvard. Why don't you build something like that in your place? Why don't you help develop your place and then get that kind? Okay, your daughter and your son went to Harvard University, and so what? And so we cannot create our own. We have people who still have this slave mentality, and unfortunately, most of them are the ones that but we know it is not true. They are not exposed in any form or in any way. They are not. They're not exposed because you know them by their talk, you know them by their character. Why do you have to go to that extra length or extra mile? Fine, you want your child to have a good, you have connection. That's the only thing they can get if they go to Harvard. It will not make, because education, what you are is already inside of you. Any small thing can bring it out. Any small inspiration can bring out of that which you have. A seed, what a seed needs to grow does not come from outside, it comes from inside. The nutrients that it gets from the soil and the water and the sun are the things that help that thing inside of the seed to develop into a tree. That is how growth is. Everything you are, you came with your destiny in your hand. Nobody is going to show you the way. What they will help you to do is to prepare yourself for the battle that is ahead, for the journey that is ahead, for the way that you are going. That is what people should do for you. So there is no special place to get that kind of special education. Except you want to become something else. Except you want to live while you are here. You want to live while you came and become something else. But if you want to fulfill your purpose and your life on earth, what you need is inspiration. What you need are things, words, that will help you bring out who you are and what you are. So let us not tell ourselves like that. You went to Harvard, you went to Oxford. As far as I'm concerned, the way I am, for me, is the same. I don't see any difference in it. It is you. At the end of the day, it is you. Because the same school you are claiming that you went to, you are doing your hand like this. Millions have passed through that school. And many of them have ended up as junks. Some of them have become nothing. Some of them became something according to your own definition. But then, at the end of the day, it's not just one person that passed through the school. So it is you it is you that will really bring out what is inside of you. With a little inspiration that you will get from outside. But nobody is supposed to put anything in you. So we need to change from this. You understand? We need to change from this. We need to change from this. We need to change from this. So that is why we need to understand where we are and as a people. And understand how we as a people can really bring out the best of us and transform the society that we need to transform. Prince Henry Onwu Elezi, my brother, I am not, I don't discuss people. I didn't come, I was not created to come and discuss anybody. I'm a man that believes I am a child of destiny. I am called here to fulfill my own destiny. If you have any discussion or if you want to understand anybody, any man or woman, I don't care who he or she is, please, you can reach that person at his own platform and then ask the person any question you want to ask the person based on what the person is doing. I'm here to talk about how I feel and what I understand that is happening around me and around my people. So please, let us not, I don't mention people's name in my program. I try to avoid that. I was not brought up in that way. I'm a man, I'm not a woman, I don't gossip. I discuss events. I talk about projects and programs. You understand? That is why I keep telling you about we changing structures, about we reforming and transforming our land, and then going back to what it used to be. And as Onyogo Mo, I don't believe in anything that is not my own. You understand? So I don't talk about people, be it whoever. You understand? I won't even want to talk about you. I just mentioned your name because you wrote this thing. Don't write this kind of a thing in my program. I don't discuss people, please. I don't dive into white man's politics. You understand what I'm saying? So you better understand me. I don't believe in white man's politics. I don't believe in his religion. So if you have players who are into it or who are doing it, everybody, many people have contacts. Reach them anyhow you want to reach them and discuss about them. Whatever you want to discuss with them, I have no problem with that. But here I talk about what I know that will benefit us as Africans, and then Igbo in particular, because I'm an Igbo man. That is what I am. That is what I am. Tomorrow I am an Igbo man. I don't know any other place. If people ask me, where do you come from in Africa? I say, I'm an Igbo man. Where is Igbo land? I say, where is Igbo? I say, in Igbo land. So I don't even mention any other name. Because I don't believe in this country and whatever, any name you are giving to anything. Me, I'm an Igbo man. My name, look at it, they are there. It's an Igbo name. You know, I'm proudly an Igbo man. But I'm not trying to override or overrule other Africans. No. I believe in Africa as one family. But I must identify myself where I come from, and I'm an Igbo man. And we all know that Igbo is in the western side of Africa. So I don't want to go into anything that has nothing to do with what I'm discussing. Today I'm talking to Africans generally. And then maybe to my fellow Igbos, you know, directly. So let's keep it at that. I want you to understand me, please. So, like what I was trying to say, everything that was given to us, they gave it to us for a reason. And the reason being to benefit them. So they never brought anything to us to help us or to support us in any way or to help us develop. We were already more developed than them. Even where we were, let me shock you people now, where we were before the white man came, we were far ahead of them, even as at today, as where they are today. We were far ahead of them. Because it came to a point that certain societies... It came to a point, certain societies... grew to a level that we were no longer interested in having kings. We did not have police, neither do we have prison yards, but the societies were run. They functioned perfectly. So we came to that in Africa where we never had any of these people to work with us. We came to that level. So many societies in Africa, we are so advanced that we did not need to run any democratical system or whatever system to have ourselves organized. We were very well organized. There was no crime. There was no hatred. You know, things were functioning the way they are supposed to function. So we came to that level. We came to that level. You see, we came to that level. That we as a people, we functioned very, very well. So when they came, they saw that we have gone ahead of them. There's no way they can catch up. In fact, the society they themselves cannot create. So the only way they can, you know, see or admit that such a society exists is when they now, with the illusion of heaven, because that was what they created heaven to look like. The society we had then. It was a perfect society. A society where there was no prison, there was no police. But people know exactly how to behave themselves and what to do. And that is why to date, when we talk about the Igbo clan. Because the Igbos came to that level. That is why they told that the Igbo has no king. They came to that level that everybody was a king. People know exactly, when you misbehave, they will send you out of the entire empire. They will send you out of the kingdom. They will banish you out of the kingdom. So people had no reason to ban. There was nothing like prison yard. There was no prison at all. Forget about what they show you in Nollywood. Those things are rubbish. It's nonsense. It's nothing to do with our history. These things were when histories were polluted. The Igbo society came to a point where there was no prison yard. There was no need for it. Everybody know exactly what to do, how to behave. So when the Europeans came, when the Portuguese came, they were amazed that thousands of people, millions of people can live together and there is no crime. It baffled them. And there was nothing like a figurehead that this person is the head of this clan or this person is an emperor. No, there was nothing like that. The matters were taken to where elders gather to discuss them. So they saw it. That was what gave them a picture of what heaven may look like if there is any. So when they created heaven, they had it in mind. They tell you about the 24 elders on throne. They came and they saw how we lived. The thing marveled them, and that was why they bent on destroying it. The society we had then was above this so-called nonsense political society. We had it better. That is why many of us are still advocating for it. We are calling for it. That is why many of us want it to come back, want us to really, really, really embrace it again. Many of us are calling for it because the Igbo society, the Igbo clan came to that level that when they sat, they watched them. They were asking themselves, how can thousands, millions of people organize themselves in such a manner that everybody knows exactly what to do and they are doing it exactly the way it is supposed to be done? There is no police. There is no policing. There is no policing. People were doing what they are supposed to do. So we came to that level. And that is something you cannot take away. And that is why we need to really bring back our history. This part of history, they didn't write it for you. They have to hide it. Because they don't want you to know that there is a society that was that existed a society in Africa that was above their level of civilization today. They don't want you to understand that. So they are doing it as if they are the ones bringing this knowledge in, bringing it in. But they are going back to history to borrow from us the life we lived. And today now, the people who are living that life, many of us now don't even have one third of or 1/10 of that particular wisdom. Because we have wasted everything we have, believing every lie told by these people. Our people, instead of us, because the normal sporting we do in our land is when men sit and they play with their brain. But today, what do? We spend our days in the church, clapping hand, arranging chairs, singing, kneeling down, fasting, praying to a God that never existed. None of us is using brain again. Our brain does not work. We have packed it. Now we are now allowing a book written by people that we are better than to think for us. It's whatever that is written in that book. By the time you start talking with your brother, he will start quoting the Bible for you. Nobody, no Igbo man, if you sit them down now, 6 of them, you will see that out of them now, maybe it's only 2 that still understand Proverbs. The rest don't know anything about Proverbs. They don't even understand any Igbo Proverbs. And Igbo Proverbs are not meant for, it's not like if I give you a proverb, I have to explain it to you. No, I give you a proverb. That proverb I'm giving to you, I will not explain it to you because they say when